Understand one thing, capital A is different for computer and small letter a is different for computer. If it is a lowercase letter, then it will going to return true, otherwise it will going to return false. So strings are manipulated as one-dimensional array of character. Hello everybody, welcome back to the session 2 on chapter 12, that is functions. I am Rohini TS from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. In the previous session of this chapter, I have discussed regarding the introduction part of the chapter. That means what do you mean by functions and what is the use of having this function. So as we all discussed, functions is nothing but that is a set of instructions. That is a set of instructions or a statement which will going to be used in order to perform a particular task. So after the operation, performance and all, it will going to return some value back to the main function or a function where it has been called. That is what related to the function. And also we have discussed regarding the types of function. How many types of functions we have? So we have two kinds of function. One is library function and it is also called as built-in function. It is also called as built-in functions or it is also called as predefined function. Okay, and we have one more type, that is user-defined function. So library function is the first type and user-defined function is a second type. So if you consider a library functions or a standard library functions or a built-in function, and it is also considered as what? Predefined function. So here we are going to write a set of instructions or a set of statement in order to perform a particular task. So if I wanted to have that function, then we are going to use the header file. So with the help of header file, we are going to take this library functions. And this user-defined functions, if you wanted to solve our problem, so if I wanted to do something with applications and all, at that time, we are going to create our own functions. So that is of complete subprograms and it is of independent subprograms. It does not depend on any of the software, any of the header files and all. So that kind of functions will be termed as user-defined functions. And also I have discussed regarding the different header files. So each header file will going to perform its own operation. So by using or by including that particular header file in our program, then we are going to use some of the function which is related to the header file. For example, I can take stdio.h and also I have discussed regarding the iostream.h. Then we have discussed regarding the math.h and iomanip.h. Okay, so standard input output, and we have discussed regarding the std-lib, that is standard library function. So these are all the some of the header files that I have discussed in my last session. So in the today's session, we are going to learn about the character functions. So if I wanted to have any of the character in my program and if I wanted to manipulate that characters and all, then we are going to use this character function. So then if I am using that character as a function element, or if we are working or manipulating with a character, then how we are going to take that as an input? How we are going to take a input as a single character, that is what? The second content, then outputting a single character. So we are working with function. It will have to perform some of the operations. So after that, it has to return some value back to the function, right? So for that purpose, we are going to have the output of a single character, that is outputting a single character. Along with that, we are going to learn with the string functions. So that is, one is what? Character function, and another one is string functions. So in this character function, we are also going to learn with the character functions which comes under the category of this character function, as well as I am going to discuss regarding this string functions. So if I wanted to do all those things, first we have to declare a string function, and also we are going to do with this initialization of a string. So this will be the content of my today's session. So let me get into the session that is regarding the character functions. So before working with this character function, first we have to understand what you mean by character. For example, if I am going to write like this, A. So can I call this as a character? Yes. So if I am going to write it as plus, can we call this as a character? Yes. I am going to write a number called 9. Can we call this as a character? Yes. How we'll get to know that whatever the things that we are going to write as a character, because whatever the values or whatever the character which is enclosed between a single quote will be termed as a character. So that is, a character is any single character that needs to be enclosed between single quotes. So if any character, so can I take this as an example then? AB single quote. No, we can't take. Why? Because here we have a two characters. So I can take only one character as a character value. So that needs to be enclosed between a single quote. If I wanted to take this, then it has to be separated. Then I can take this as a and B. That will be considered as a individual character, which is A as well as the B. Okay. So here character is nothing but that is a single character which is enclosed under single quotes. That is the definition of this character. And how this character function will going to be work? So some of the functions. So whatever I am going to write within this parenthesis. So opening and closing of a parenthesis that indicates the argument. So that will going to comprises of some of the parameter. We can also use this character as an argument or a parameter to the function. That is the second point that you have to remember regarding this character function. So some of the function will going to accept a character as an argument. So for example, x. So x of parenthesis open and close. So I can call this as a function. So within that parenthesis, whatever the value that we are going to send will going to be considered as a parameter or an argument. So we are going to discuss regarding the types of parameter in my coming session. So as of now, you just understand whatever we are going to write within that parenthesis will be considered as a parameter or an argument. So that is mainly used in order to perform the operations, and whatever we have written here that indicates the name of a function. Okay, so that is related to the second point. And as we all know that computer understands only Hindi. Is it? No, computer understands only zeros and ones. So whatever the value or whatever the character that we are going to type and all, everything needs to be converted into integer. So that integer value will going to have its own ASCII character. Already we have discussed regarding the ASCII character in the data representation chapter itself. So ASCII is nothing but some of the American Standard Information Interchange Code. So that has a specific value to each keyword or each character that we are going to type in a computer. For example, if I am going to write a character called A, that is of capital letter A. Understand one thing, capital A is different for computer and small letter A is different for computer. Okay, so when we are typing this capital A, then computer does not understand what we have keystroke, but so this has a specific value in the ASCII table. So that is what? 65. The capital A value is 65. So when we are pressing this capital A in the keyboard, at that time it is got to know that it is a 65. Then this 65 needs to be converted into zeros and ones, that is binary numbers. Then only computer can understand, yes, user have entered or pressed this capital A. And for this small letter A, that is of 97. Okay, so this is how the things will going to work. So whatever the character that we are going to write, everything needs to be converted into integer, and each integer value will going to have its equivalent ASCII code. The argument is processed as an integer by using its ASCII code. So here ASCII is nothing but American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So whatever the character we are going to send within this parameter, everything will going to be converted into integer. Then it will going to have the value of that particular ASCII code. So in order to use all these functions in my program, if I wanted to perform any of the function which is related to the character, then we have to include an header file called ctype.h. C represents character. So if I am performing any of the manipulations related to character, then it is necessary to have this ctype.h header file. So any character which is enclosed between a single quote is called as single character constant, or we can also call that as a character constant. So what do you mean by single character constant? Any character which is enclosed between a single quote. That is considered as what? Character constant or a single character constant or a character constant. So now we'll see some of the character function, and it is also important question. So here we have listed out some of the character functions. So what are the characters functions we have? If I wanted to have this character function, then it is necessary to include the ctype.h header file in our program. Okay, so we'll see the functions and as well as the description. That means what are the operations that it will going to perform. So what we have? So is alpha. After that I have a open and closing of a parenthesis that indicates that this is a function. And what is the thing which is reside prior to that parenthesis? That is considered as a name of a function. So what is the first function we have? Is alpha. So is nothing but always a question mark. We are checking is alpha. So within that parameter I am going to send some character. and we are checking is whatever the character that I have sent is an alphabet. If the value or whatever the argument that I am going to send, if it is an alphabet, then it will going to return true value. If it is not an alphabet or which is not related to the alphabets like A to Z or small a to Z, then it will going to return false value. That is alpha. So it may comprises of a value capital A to Z or small a to Z. So if I am giving that as an input or an argument to the function, then it will going to consider that as a true. Otherwise, it will going to return false. So what we have next, that is digit of. So here within this parenthesis, I have to send arguments. So if we are sending any value which is of a 0 to 9, which is of a combination of 0 to 9. Okay, at a time you have to take a single character because this accepts only single character as an argument. So if I am giving any value which is between 0 to 9, so then only it will going to return true. Otherwise it will going to return true. Otherwise it will going to return false. Okay, so is digit, we are checking whether the given input is digit or not. If it is a digit, true. If not, then false. Then is all num. So AL, that represents the alphabet. Are we giving any value which is a combination? It can be either alphabet or a number. Okay, so it may comprises of capital A to Z and small a to Z or any combination of 0 to 9. So if any one of the character is given as an input, then it will going to give value as true. If not, then it will going to return false. Is all num. It can be either alphabet or a number which is from 0 to 9. Next is upper. Whatever the character that I am giving, whether it is in the upper case. So if it going to check, so if I am going to give the value between capital A to Z, then it will going to return true. So if not, if you are giving any value other than this capital A to Z, then it will going to consider that as a false value or it will going to return false. Next we have is lower. That means I am checking whether the given character is lowercase letter or not. If it is a lowercase letter, then it will going to return true. Otherwise, it will going to return false. Okay. So we'll have some more, that is space. I am checking whatever the input that I am giving is of a space, because even in the computer space has a meaning. Space has a meaning to the compiler. It has some value. So that is what we have to check. Am I giving only space as an input to the character function? That we have to check. Then what are the space that I can consider? Is space function comprises of space? Are we giving any tab? Are we giving vertical tab? Are we giving \n that indicates the new line character? Those are all will be considered as what? Space. So if it is a space, then it will going to return true. If it is not a space, then it will going to return false. Next is what? Is punct. That means we are checking for the punctuations. So we have several symbols like plus, minus, modulus, and we have slash, star, asterisk symbol, and we have double quotes, we have single quote, and we have some of the exclamatory symbol. All these are the punctuations. Are we giving an input as a punctuation? If it is yes, then it will going to return true. Otherwise, it will going to return that as a false. Okay, then it will checking for the special character. Are we giving a input as a special character? If as true, otherwise it will going to return false. Next, to upper. That means we have to give a value. That means we have to give a lowercase input that will going to be converted into uppercase value. So here To upper in the sense it will going to convert lowercase letter into uppercase letter. Then my input must be from small a to z. So then what will be the output it will going to give? It will going to give capital A to Z based on the character that we are going to give the input. So next we have a to lower. So what it indicates? It will going to convert any of the given uppercase letter into lowercase character or a letter. Then for this to lower, my input must be capital A to Z. After the conversion, it will going to give me the output as small a to Z. So next, to ASCII. So as we all know that computer understand only zeros and ones. So if I wanted to give the value of any character, then that must be based on the ASCII standards. So whatever the symbols I am going to give, whatever the values I am going to give as an input, everything will going to be converted into ASCII character. So it will going to returns the ASCII value, and whatever the character that we are going to give will going to be converted into character of its ASCII value. Okay, so we'll see the example of each program right now. So let me write all the function as well as the example 1. So here I have written all the functions and I will take you the example to make you understand each function thoroughly. So what is the first function I have here? Is alpha. We have to check. Let me consider I am going to take a value as small letter m. Okay. So as I told, is alpha is nothing but we are checking whether the given input is alphabet or not. Is it an alphabet? Then what it will going to return? It will going to return a value called true. Okay. If I am going to include this as a 9, at that time it will going to return the value called false. Okay. Is digit. Let me consider 8. So here I have taken an input as a digit. So it will going to return a value called true. Or else if I am going to use is digit of capital Z. Is it a digit? No. If not, then it will going to return false value. Okay. So there will be only two possibilities. One is true or false. Next we have is all num. It can be either any number between 0 to 9 or any alphabet from A to Z. So let me consider this as G. What it will going to return? It will going to return the value called true. Okay. And let me take one more example. Is all num of plus. Is it alphabet or a number? No. If not, then it will going to return the value called false. Okay. So we'll see the next functions. So here we have is upper. I'm checking whether I'm giving the value is upper or not. So I have inputted a character called A. Is it in the uppercase? Yes. So it will going to return the value called true. So if I'm going to take any value like a small letter n, is it in the uppercase? No. At that time, it will going to return false. Next, is lower. So let me consider B. I have taken an example, is lower of B. So, is this B is a lower case or a small letter? Yes. So then it will going to return true. If I am going to take an input like capital M, then this will going to be false. Okay. So next, is space. So I am not going to write anything. I am just going to put single quote. So within that, let me consider backslash n, that is new line character. Then that is also considered as a space. Then it will return true. Next is punctuation. Let me consider minus. Okay. So this is a punctuation mark. So then it will going to return true. So if I am going to write is punct of 0. Is this a punctuation mark? No. Then it will going to return a value called false. So next, to upper. Consider I am going to give D. I am going to take an input called D. So whatever the input that I am giving needs to be converted into uppercase. Then it will going to return a value called capital D. Okay. If I am going to give an input in the uppercase itself, then also it will going to return the uppercase as it is. So for example, to upper of B. Then no conversion is required. At that time, it is also going to return B again. Okay. So next, to lower. For example, I am going to take A. Then it will going to return small letter A. After that, we have to Ascii. Let me consider capital A. And it will going to return the equivalent value of A is 65. Okay. So this is the example, and I have explained regarding the character function, and it is also important question for your in the perspective of your examination. So now we'll see how we are going to give a single character as an input. So we can give an input character by making use of a function called get. Okay, so we are going to use a function called get in order to give a single character as an input. Then what is the general syntax that you can see here? Char ch. So what is this indicates? Let me tell you, int a. So what is this? Int is a data type and a is the name of a variable. So that indicates a is of the data type integer. In the same way, I am taking a character as a data type and ch as the name of a variable. That indicates char ch. That indicates ch is the name of a variable which is of the data type character, because in order to hold a single character as a value, we have to take a data type called char. Next, cin is equal to get of ch. So get is a function. Within that, I am sending this character as an input. So ch is the name of a variable and we are sending a parameter. We are sending the arguments to the function called get. Then the cin function is taking the input of this character with the help of this get function. At last, put semicolon, and also we have another way, char ch, and ch is equal to cin dot get. So we are accessing the functions. Cin is a variable name, cin is a object name, cin dot get of ch. So get is a function and ch is a argument. This is another way. So after the inputting and doing some processing, we have to output. That is what? Outputting a single character. For input, we are going to use get function. In the same way, for output, we are going to use the put function. So put function is used in order to display a single character. Then what is the general form that we are going to use? When I am using get function, that is related to the input. If it is related to the input, then cin. Okay, that is console input. If it is related to the output, that is cout. Okay, so as we did for this cin dot get of ch, here instead of cin, we are going to take cout. Cout dot and put is a function which is used to display a single character, and within the parenthesis, we are taking a argument, that is char ch. So before this, you can also have this char ch. First we have to declare, then only I can take that as an input. Okay, so after that you can see the example here, char ch, we have declared. After that, ch is equal to cin dot get. So we are giving, so whatever the get function we have, for that function I am giving the value called ch as an input. So ch is an input, then I have to display that value, whatever the ch will going to hold as a single character, that needs to be displayed on a screen. So for that purpose, we are going to use a put function that returns a single character or displays a single character. So cout. So you have to follow this format, cout dot put of ch. So whatever the input that I have taken by making use of a get function of a single character can be displayed with the help of this put function in order to display a single character. Okay, so this is regarding what? Character function, inputting as well as the outputting. So we are done with character function. So we'll see about the string function. Character will going to deals with a single character. So as per my previous example, there I have taken AB. But I cannot consider this as a single character because here it comprises of two characters. What if I wanted to have a sequence of character? What if I wanted to have a stream of character? Then we are going to have this string. So string is nothing but it will going to have a sequence of character which will going to be enclosed between a double quotes. If it is a single character, then single quotes. If I am going to enclosed sequence of character within a double quotes, then that will going to be considered as a string. String is a sequence of character enclosed between the double quotes. So strings are manipulated as one-dimensional array of character. Already we have discussed regarding the array. Array will going to hold a homogeneous element, that is of the same data elements it will going to hold, and array's index starts from 0. Okay, and it will going to have sequential order of element and terminated by null character. So here understand one thing, string is nothing but it is a sequence of character. We are going to use this string. We can represent this string with the help of array concept. Array is nothing but collection of homogeneous element. But in the string, how will I get to know the end of a string? That is with the help of this null character. For example, A, B, C. I have only 3 characters, which is a sequence of character. I can say this as a string only when it is enclosed between a double quotes. But how can I get to know this is the end of a string? Then I have to include \0, or that is also considered as what? Null character, in order to indicate that this as a string. So if I wanted to perform any of the manipulation related to the string and all, so it is necessary to have a header file called string.h. So for character function, ctype.h. So for string function, string.h header files. So all the characters, sequence of character will be termed as a string, and in order to represent the end of a string, we have to use \0 that indicates a null character. For example, ABC, I can represent it with the help of array, right? So if it is considered as an array, A, B, C, and array's index starts from 0, 1, 2. In the string also, string index will going to be starts with a character called 0. So how can I get to know the end of this string? By making use of a \0 that indicates the last character. This indicates the last character or an end of a string. So now we'll see about the declaring of a string variable. So if I wanted to use a string, then it needs to be declared first. So as we did for the char ch. So that is what? Char is a data type and ch is a name of a variable. After that I need to put semicolon. If I wanted to have a string, that is sequence of character or array of character, how we are going to display how we are going to declare an array? First I have to take a data type, then name of an array, then within the square bracket I have to take a size. Same thing we have to do for the string. So here char is a data type and I have to specify a name of a string, and within the square bracket I have to specify the size. What is the size of a particular string? So here char is a data type, string name is nothing but it is the name of a string variable, and size represents the number of character in the string. Okay, and each size, for example, if I am taking char st of 20, what it indicates? Char is a data type and st is the name of a string, and what is the size? 20. It includes or it specifies that it will going to have or it will going to include 20 character. It will going to include 20 character, and each character will going to have 1 bytes of memory space. So for string, for character data type, it will going to hold single byte of a memory space for each character. Then this 20 indicates it will going to include or it will going to have 20 bytes of memory space after the declaration. Okay, so that is what we have to understand from the declaration. So let me take one more declaration. Char AB of 50. Okay, so char is a data type and AB is the name of a string and 50 is the size of a string or a character array. So next, initializing a string. So now I have declared a string. I have to give some initial value to the string. I have to assign some initial value to the string. So that is related to initialization of a string. So as we did for the initialization of a variables, characters and all, we can also initialize the string too. How we are going to do that? We'll see. So here you can see the example of this one, that is char s of 10 is equal to, how I have to take a value for a string which needs to be enclosed between a double quotes. Let me consider Karnataka, Karnataka. How many characters we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 characters, but I have taken a value or a size as 10. Okay. How it will be represented in the computer memory? It will be represented with the help of array, no? So we'll see Karnataka. Okay, but I have taken a size of 10, so at last it will going to include \0 that indicates end of a string, and array index starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Okay, so this is how we are going to do the initialization. Whatever the value I have at the right side will going to be stored to this array called string called yes. So S value is Karnataka right now. And we can also do the initialization like this. For example, here in the previous example, I have specified the size. But in this example, I am not specifying the size. So if we are not specifying the size, by default, how many characters we have, that much of memory will going to be allocated by default. So here, Bangalore, then it will going to include BANGALORE. At last, by default, it will going to have \0. Okay, this is how the representation of that particular string called S will going to takes place. By explicit, we can represent a size. If I am not giving a size, then whatever the character we have for that, memory allocation will going to happen. For example, char A of is equal to AB. Okay. So what is the size of this one? I am not specifying the size, but I have only 2 characters. Then by default, it will going to allocate 3 bytes of memory. AB is for 1 and another one is for \0. So next we have char st of. Then instead of taking strings, I am taking a sequence of character. I am taking sequence of character. That is what? Empress. So here Empress is a string. Instead of taking that, I am taking a sequence of character. Instead of this, I can also write like this. Okay. So at last, each character will going to, or collection of character will going to make a string. If it is a string, should be enclosed between a double quotes. If it is a character, then we are going to have it with the help of single quote. So how it will be represented in a computer memory? EMPRES. At last, it will going to hold null character in order to represent the end of a string. Next, we have char st of 10 and we have a book. Okay. So let me take char st of 10 and the value is book. How many characters I have here? I have only 4 characters, but I have taken a value called 10. In the computer memory, 10 bytes of memory space will going to be allocated. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what is the first value? B, O, K. Okay. So whatever the remaining value we have by explicit, it will going to be filled by 0. Okay. It will going to be filled by 0. But last character needs to be ends with null character. Okay. So that you can see here, if a string is initialized by giving the character, then we must explicitly specify the string terminator. That is what? Null character. So if the number of size is greater than the value of a string, then the remaining value will going to be filled by 0. That is the thing that you have to understand. That you can see here, if an entire string is initialized to string variable, then the null character is automatically will going to be appended at the end of a string. So in the each end of a string, by default null character will going to be appended. So that indicates the end of a string. So this is regarding character function as well as the string function. I hope you all understood with this two topics. So in the coming session, we are going to learn about how I can give an input to the string and how we are going to output a string. And I have some of the string function, that is what string length, string concatenation, string copy, string comparison, comparison without cases, and I have some more other functions. So this will be the content of my next session. So in the next session, we are going to learn about all these topics. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.